Oh, in fact, we're going to give away prizes. We're going to do Mike's Words of Wisdom. Big Mike who runs this place?
Who?
Mike. Yeah, that guy.
Every Wednesday Words of Wisdom. If you could repeat it verbatim, it's that simple. You win a prize, so stick around. But before we talk Mahomes, before we talk midweek major, and we're going to take it back to the year 2000 today, we got to talk about Brett Favre. Ever heard of him?
With
Never
the
heard of him.
33rd pick in the NFL draft, the Falcons choose Brett Favre.
And you know what?
How's Brett Favre doing here?
I don't remember Orville Redenbacher choosing Brett Favre to the Falcons. I don't remember that. I don't.
Favre.
And then Chris Berman there with the rescue, with the assist, making a joke out of it.
And did him a favor to pick Favre.
Great job there, Berman. But Brett Favre, The Fall of Favre, Untold on Netflix, debuted last night. We talked about it briefly yesterday just to hype you up for it, but we all watched it. What are your thoughts? What were your takeaways? And here's what's crazy about life and the news cycle that we live in, especially in today's world, more now than ever, is how quickly you forget. Like, we remember the story, but you don't remember all the details. And when they're compiled into one untold documentary, you're like, yeah, damn, Brett Favre, how'd he get away with that?
Brett Favre is trash.
Like, yo, man, I know you were a great football player and all, but this good old boy did some shady stuff.
I think it was best summed up by that Green Bay reporter who was asked to do a story about Brett Favre, the family man. And he's like, I don't write fiction. That was a great line.
It was.
With our trend of Brett Favre is trash.
He's trash.
Your takeaways, there's a few. One of them, and this wasn't even what made him trash.
Yeah, like what did you forget about? What did you learn for the first time? Has your opinion changed? I think it should have. I do. I mean, you could separate the people. He was a great football player.
Yeah.
But
gunslinger, as they pointed out 25 times.
They did. And you know what? He did throw harder than the average quarterback. Noticeably hard.
Breaking fingers, dude.
Breaking fingers. Great quarterback, but not a great guy. And I think a lot of us chose to forget about that. We did not.
No.
But we were reminded of other things. Even I was watching last night, Rich, and I was like, yeah, I forgot about that part. So what were your takeaways, guys? 877-99 on Fox. Let's start off with Rich. 877-99 on Fox.
My big takeaway that has nothing to do with him being trash, we'll get to that. I absolutely forgot that he adamantly retired twice and then came out of retirement quickly after. I forgot how annoying I will never play another game.
Well, the thing is,
and then,
we know because he played for the Jets and then he played for the Vikings. But you're right. I forgot how it went down as well because, again, we live in the time of the next story.
Next.
Like, what's the next story? And then you move on and you forget a little bit.
I think we owe Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers an apology because their retirement hoaxes or comebacks or anything, nothing compared to Brett Favre's double doozy of I'll never play again, Mary, to back and then back again. Like, what a pain in the ass.
Now,
and trash, by the way.
When you watch the inappropriate picture portion of the story,
yeah,
I was reminded just how much it affected Jen Sturger.
Yeah.
Like, we knew that, and Rich, you could explain why and how we knew that.
I mean,
but I forgot that she was doing that much in the industry. Like, she really had a great thing going.
What I don't want to do is, this is not about me. I don't want to insert myself, but the reality is I was dating Jen during the time of this happening.
And
Spot, our video guy, was her roommate. So, I mean, when you talk about being close to a story, no one could be closer.
That's why it was extra weird for us to watch. I was oddly emotional watching this. I really was. I lack empathy.
Yeah,
okay?
Rich and Spot should have been in this documentary.
I mean, I'm not even joking.
Or maybe me, because they were two, they had biased opinions. Throw me in there.
You know what was in this documentary? My living room and my plant, which I still have.
That's right.
Covino and I were like, wait a minute, is that your plant?
So trust our perspectives, and we'd love to hear yours. 877-99 on Fox, because we've known her for years.
Yeah.
Rich really knew her on a different level. Spot lived with her. She was a frequent guest on our show. And it was a sad time. But like I said, being so close, I knew her as Jen, and I knew she loved sports, and I knew she was doing cool stuff. But when you see it compiled, all the things that she did and the path she created and the opportunity she created for herself, you're like, damn, man, one guy's wiener shot got in the way of all of that momentum. That's a shame,
And
dude.
I said to Covino, to give an analogy, who does it better than me? Maybe Colin? Stars!
Just because you label yourself the guy
Stars.
with the analogies doesn't make you the best at them.
Eventually,
Stars.
it gets in your head.
I think we all give analogies.
No, mine are the best. I said to Covino, that would be like if when your career was just starting to take off.
I'm still waiting for it to take off.
When
though.
we were in the early days of Maxim and Sirius XM, when our show was really starting to gain some steam, that would be like in that moment, a girl sent you a boob pic.
Ooh,
And because of that, your career got derailed.
yeah, that's not fair, man. Not fair.
Doesn't seem fair now, does it?
No, not at all. And I think we were completely reminded at what a different time it was. And I wish they brought this point home more. We made this point yesterday, but let's repeat it again. If that happened in today's world, it would never go down like that. It just wouldn't. And I understand that Brett Favre was a football god and still is to a lot of people, but what he did was wrong. And in today's world, Jen would have been a victim, and Brett Favre would have had to answer a lot of questions.
But back then, they pushed her aside, and he was a hero, which is terrible.
As Jen said, she lost her show. She had a TV show that was canceled, and Brett Favre was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and his life went on, and he was the greatest, and he's doing copper fit sock commercials, right? So it's like it didn't affect him, but it completely affected her. Today's world, the Me Too movement happened. Anytime someone missteps or does something crazy like that, it's big news, man. And you're canceled. Dude, Brett Favre was still a hero.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Jen paid the price, and her career took a hit as a result.
And to fast forward to the second part of the
And
documentary.
probably, Rich, it probably affected your relationship.
I mean, no doubt.
You know, that's a whole other weird discussion
and
there.
friendships, I mean,
Yeah.
listen, it's an awful scenario. And you know who doesn't get enough blame? That dirtbag at Deadspin, that AJ guy. Because, had he not blown up the story about Jen receiving the lewd text and everything, then it would have just been an awful experience for her that she would have had to remember and have dealt with. But by him exploiting that and blowing it up and paying someone to hack her, which is next level douchebaggery.
What was cool about this Untold documentary is that she had the receipts, because even if you were close to the story, even if you paid close attention to the story, there was still a part of you that thought, really? She was hacked? Come on. Or you had this impression that maybe she was flirty with Brett Favre. But you learn right from the source that she never even met the guy.
And that was always the thing.
That's a big revelation.
That was always
man.
the thing that Covino, Spot, and myself always found wild from knowing Jen very well.
Because
And
people would assume that because she was a good-looking girl.
Jen's a great person, and I
But
think
people
that
would assume she was looking for opportunity, Rich.
I think that one of the biggest takeaways is that you're right. We knew it because, again, we're close to the story at the time, but we always knew that Jen had never met him, never shook his hand, and he was just a creep trying to kick it to her.
I remember that, but I forgot.
And the fact that they've never met, and he so cavalierly is like, yeah, whatever. Like, guy is, what did I say? Brett Favre is trash.
Brett Favre is trash.
The guy's a piece of ass, really. And to be honest,
Piece of ass.
no S. S.
Oh,
and
S.
No, he's no piece of ass.
I was going to say,
And
I
he's
never
got a
heard
little-
it used
he's
like
got-
that.
He's got a little dinky too.
You'd be like, that guy's
If my dinky was that small, you would never send it to anyone. And he wore Crocs in the photo? What a loser.
That was a little tiny black box that they used to cover it up.
If they're going to blurt out your penis on TV, you hope they use a bigger box than like tiny little box.
So again, we understand how the public probably viewed it. Jen was sexy. She's a good-looking girl. Oh, she was probably flirting with Brett Favre. Even George Stephanopoulos, what's his name?
Snuffleupagus.
Yeah.
George Snuffleupagus.
Even Snuffleupagus was insinuating that it was probably flattering, right, Jen? I mean, it is Brett Favre. She's like, no, not at all, you bozo.
What a loser
Because
that
she
guy
wasn't
is.
looking for that, because she really was trying to make the most of her opportunities in the sports world.
What's up, DB?
I thought that her comeback, which was "you're insinuating that I would be flattered," was so biting. And granted, it happened, how many years ago, but that was probably the second biggest part of that documentary where you take a step back. But just
agreed. The
that
time
line.
and place we're in, that a reporter on ABC Nightly News would insinuate. I mean, Jenny, are you flattered that one of the best quarterbacks of all time sent you his junk? Like, are you out of your mind?
Yeah. This is so easy. This is so interesting considering your connection. I'm not connected to Brett Favre, but I was born and raised in Wisconsin. The first game that he appeared in with the Packers that they put in this documentary, I was at against the Cincinnati Bengals.
With that 92-yard drive.
Dude,
it was
what a performer, what a gutsy football player. The separation of these, it's wild to me.
Then in my broadcasting career, like throughout Favre's later days, the retirement stuff that you mentioned of there were not only two official retirements, there was the one that he announced with Green Bay and the one that he announced with the Jets. It was also the previous 2 or 3 seasons where he always hinted it and wanted people to, be like, "Oh, come back." Yeah, but there was never a full announcement by it. But it is interesting because I was even asked what I thought about the documentary. And first of all, I don't think it even should be a Favre documentary. I figured that there was so much of Jen Sturger on it and that story, and not that the welfare stuff was just kind of put at the end, but it was so dramatic. But also this timeline of Favre was kind of felt by, I think, a lot of the people that had backed him. And when he went to the Vikings, he no longer had that aura around him from Packer fans. So everything that was wrong, that he would do wrong, you would be like, oh, okay, maybe he isn't the guy that we thought he was. And so when she says, if people are telling you who they are, believe them, I think that summed up the whole thing. I actually think I didn't learn a lot about Favre in that scenario coming from where I came from. But man, he's just not a good guy.
Listen, as someone, like we said, who knew Jen well, knows Jen, to us, I hope there's some redemption for her. I hope this leads to a cool opportunity and someone saying, hey, this woman got her, her career shot down because of this. Maybe someone gives her a chance now. I thought another telling quote, Dan Beyer, was from former Packers coach Mike Sherman. I mean, he didn't say it, but it was quoted in the documentary where Brett Favre felt so invincible at one point where he went rogue on a play, and Mike Sherman was furious on the sideline, and Favre's attitude was like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Sure.
Was the attitude towards his head coach. And listen, when you win a Super Bowl for a small market team like that, who is so thirsty since the Bart Starr, early Vince Lombardi days, of course this guy's going to be a hero. And Brett Favre on the field can't take away from the fact that he was a warrior, a gunslinger, one of the toughest SOBs to ever wear a football uniform. But off the field, it seems like we got to see what this dude's all about.
We haven't even gotten into the volleyball stadium story yet that Dan touched on, but that's just another layer of what
I hope it was a nice court.
What a trash bag story this is.
Hope it had nice nets.
And again, it made me oddly emotional because of the impact it had on so many people and so many lives, especially Jen's. And at the time, too, maybe because at the time when we heard about this, look, I'm just a stupid young man at the time. Right? This is 15 years ago.
You're 20-something-year-old
I'm
guy.
like, what? Brett Favre, what? No way. Not understanding or realizing the ramifications that would eventually come of it, and ruin poor Jen's career and everything. And now she has this reputation and the stigma. And again, we know it, but when you see it laid out that way, you see how much it affected her and other people. And you're like, man, this is terrible.
Why do you think Mike Vick, by the way, was he there to be like, hey, I effed with some dogs and you hate me and this guy does all this? What was the
No, I think it's the opposite. It's like, here I was the most hated dude, and now now people have accepted me and I've moved forward, and you're going to hate Brett Favre even more than you hated me.
He started the contribution as, this is what it's like being a quarterback in the South, a legendary quarterback.
Yeah.
I think it was like, you think what I did was bad?
Yeah.
Wait till you get a load of this guy.
As Peter Griffin would say on Family Guy, you think that's bad.
Yeah.
And
Michael Vick said the system is rigged, and so, if you are Brett Favre, you can get away with some of that.
Okay, so now here's what I was also reminded of. Your takeaways from the Fall of Favre, controversial Netflix documentary. Number one today, We told you to watch it last night, gave you a homework assignment. Now we want to get to your phone calls and feedback. Again, completely remember the Jen thing. We sort of lived it.
Yeah.
Spot was living with her. Rich and her were together. She was a friend of all of ours. And, still in contact today. I totally forgot, Rich, about other Jets employees coming out afterward, other masseuses and people saying that he was sending them the same sort of messages.
I'm in my hotel and I'm horned up.
Yeah, honestly,
He said, I have bad intentions.
I got bad.
I did forget about that. I
Oh.
completely forgot about that part of the story. Just, adding so much to what he was really about. And got away with it. That's the thing. He was unscathed for all these years. So your takeaways, we get to your phone calls and feedback. And we're going to take you back to the year 2000, way back on a Wednesday. The last time the Knicks were in the Eastern Conference Finals. What else was going on in year 2000?
So
We'll
we're gonna take you back 25 years, and Mahomes has 2 new weapons.
Whoa.
If you haven't heard about this, we'll break it down. All coming up. COVINO and Rich, right here on Fox Sports Radio.
Now, from searching online to asking your friends and family, there are lots of ways to look for jobs. But what if you had one team that could help you find the right role? Well, that's where Express Employment Professionals come in.
Your local Express Employment Professionals office is the one connection to endless job opportunities. With just one application, they can help you find the job at a company that fits your needs with ExpressPros.com. And as always, Express never charges job seekers a fee.
Never. Express knows when companies are hiring, offers benefits, and competitive pay. And in just one interview, they are prepared to present you to multiple companies that fit your needs. So go to expresspros.com to get started, find your nearest location, and discover for yourself what it's like to have support in your job search.
You could also start your job search through the Express Jobs app. Download it today and search jobs, apply, and contact your local Express team. That's expresspros.com to start your job search today.
It's COVINO and Rich on Fox Sports Radio. Are you ready?
Yes! We talk about pop culture, we talk about sports, we talk about life.
It's a friendship on the radio. When you talk about the best athlete in the world, you're probably thinking Jim Thorpe, right?
I'm thinking
joking.
Bo Jackson.
I'd have to throw myself at the age of 12 into the conversation.
You are the home run champion. When you find the commonality between sports and life, those analogies and conversations are the best. You were dating some girl, and you were like, hey, babe, let's watch The Sixth Sense. Her mom walked in. Can you believe he was dead the whole time?
I wanted to get up.
Well, slow down, Dana White.
I don't want to say It's never boring.
If the Chiefs win,
Sorry, Patrick Mahomes here. What do you mean by if the Chiefs win?
Our friendship is real. It's authentic. You can't fake the fun.
we're the type of guys you'd want to hang out with at a sports bar. Best way to pick someone up at a bar?
Yeah.
Go up to a cute girl and say, oh, look at that bozo over there. And I point to you. We could make fun of each other, poke each other a little bit.
I call him Blubber Lips, Rich Davis, because he never stops talking.
He thinks he's the Mexican Fonz.
Yeah.
At any point, he's wearing a chain. You have a chain on?
Always.
Of course he has a chain on.
That's like asking me if I'm wearing cologne right now. Of course I am. We take a lot of pride in being inclusive and interactive on our show. Just the more the merrier.
Josh, COVINO thinks that every man should own a leather jacket.
I only wear vegan leather.
Can you believe this guy?
I can't believe this guy. We have a very special connection with our audience, our listeners. People feel that friendship.
And I appreciate y'all's show. I love it.
It's all for you. Thank you.
Mike Tyson, COVINO, loves to just challenge us with random Mike Tyson trivia.
Which accomplished celebrity purchased my sprawling Connecticut estate?
I'm going to go 50 Cent.
You are absolutely correct. 50 Cent. I love his song.
You can't schedule a big event during
can't.
a big sports moment.
My family member scheduled their wedding the same night as a Julio Cesar Chavez fight. Everyone was glued to that fight instead of doing the electric slide.
This is weak.
Unbelievable.
You're very tricky.
America, you got sports, you got fun, you got us.
Covino and Rich.
We're crushing it.
It's Covino and Rich on Fox Sports Radio. Are you ready?
Yes! We talk about pop culture, we talk about sports, we talk about life.
It's a friendship on the radio. When you talk about the best athlete in the world, you're probably thinking Jim Thorpe, right?
I'm thinking Bo
joking.
Jackson.
I'd have to throw myself at the age of 12 into the conversation.
You are the home run champion. When you find the commonality between sports and life, those analogies and conversations are the best. You were dating some girl, and you were like, hey, babe, let's watch The Sixth Sense. Her mom walked in. Can you believe he was dead the whole time?
I wanted to get up.
Well, slow down, Dana White.
I don't want to say It's never boring.
If the Chiefs win,
Sorry, Patrick Mahomes here. What do you mean by if the Chiefs win?
Our friendship is real. It's authentic. You can't fake the funk.
we're the type of guys you'd want to hang out with at a sports bar. Best way to pick someone up at a bar?
Yeah.
You go up to a cute girl and say, oh, look at that bozo over there. And I'll point to you. We could make fun of each other, poke each other a little bit.
I call him Blubber Lips, Rich Davis, because he never stops talking.
He thinks he's the Mexican Fonz.
Yeah.
At any point, he's wearing a chain. You have a chain on?
Always.
Of course he has a chain on.
That's like asking me if I'm wearing cologne right now. Of course I am. We take a lot of pride in being inclusive and interactive on our show. Just the more the merrier.
Josh, Covino thinks that every man should own a leather jacket.
I only wear vegan leather.
Can you believe this guy?
I can't believe this guy. We have a very special connection with our audience, our listeners. People feel that friendship.
And I appreciate y'all so. I love it.
It's all for you. Thank you.
Mike Tyson, Covino, loves to just challenge us with random Mike Tyson trivia.
Which accomplished celebrity purchased my sprawling Connecticut estate?
I'm going to go 50 Cent.
You are absolutely correct, 50 Cent. I love his song.
You can't schedule a big event during
can't.
a big sports moment.
My family member scheduled their wedding the same night as a Julio Cesar Chavez fight. Everyone was glued to that fight instead of doing the electric slide.
This is weak.
Unbelievable.
You're very tricky.
America, you got sports, you got fun, you got us.
Covino and Rich.
We're crushing it.
Sam could have went Radiohead creep, but he went STP creep, and I respect it.
I like that one better,
I
to be honest.
respect it.
I could have gone TLC creep too.
No, save TLC for when we do.
That's a different creep. That's like so I creep. Yeah, I don't know. That's some kind of lingo.
When we talk about the 2000s?
When we talk about
Yeah.
when we talk about the 2000s. How about that? So we're Covino and Rich. Iowa Sam's on the ones and twos. Danny G's super producing. Spot, Sturger's ex-roommate, is getting ready for midweek major. And we're Covino and Rich on Fox Sports
by the
Radio.
Way, not to make light of that terrible story, and hopefully,
I don't think
as
anyone's
we said,
making light
as
of
we
it.
said, Jen hopefully gets some redemption out of this.
I think she will.
Spot, no jokes here. Probably one of the first people to see the terrible text from Favre. Guess they were roommates.
Okay, so here's a question that we were asked earlier today on our Patreon. Did you guys see the pic? Spot, do you remember the first time you saw the pic?
I do. For some reason I remember I don't know, MySpace being I don't know, something
It was,
yeah. Yeah, so I did see the pic.
I saw it.
It was probably on a flip phone.
Yeah, I saw it on a phone. Like, what? Crocs?
And
what is
again,
that?
Again,
That's weak.
The reality is, it would have just been dirtbag Hall of Famer
sent our friend an inappropriate text.
And we kept that secret for like a year and a half,
yeah,
right?
Because it was not our business to share,
No,
right?
no.
It was a private story, and it was that Deadspin guy that I think he's a big part of what ruined Jen's life.
He is. And one thing you didn't point out, Rich, after he leaked that, a lot of the narrative in the media is, why is she coming out with this now?
She didn't come out with
exactly,
anything.
but that
that's
was
what we
the
thought.
narrative. Yeah.
Again, because she was a good-looking girl, and we just had that way of thinking back then. It was a different time, and Brett Favre's a hero. How dare you? So what did you learn? What were your takeaways? And, of course, we're giving away prizes on this show today, so stick around. We're going to play some Mike's Wednesday Words of Wisdom and Midweek Major. But right now, live from the Fox Sports Radio studio. What up, DB?
Not to share stories, but I think that there's just something that you guys said that you guys knew about this for a year.
Yeah.
And not that you never really thought anything of it, but that also tells you, I think that everybody here probably has a story about someone who was famous through some connection of a family member or yourself that makes you look at someone else in a little different light than maybe what the general public does for the famous person.
No doubt.
But that also then tells you on to Jen Sturger's problem of how difficult it is to shake that, or for Brett Favre to say, what are you going to do about it? Oof. Like that's like that. It's that shield around this the famous person
it's
or the
an abuse
athlete.
Of power. It's like Jen said in that special. Like he was a football god, and she was a freelance worker for the Jets.
It's
like,
leverage.
Yeah,
it's
it was
gravitas.
so much leverage.
It's clout.
It was a different time. It's sad to see. And Dan, speaking of that timeline, I was reminded yesterday. Again, I knew, but I forgot that this all started to unfurl and unfold when he was with the Vikings. That's when he was dodging those questions.
Yes.
Not when he was with
And
the Jets.
The reality is, like you said, there's people that tell secrets. We've never been the type of show that if we get wind of something, we want to break salacious news. I feel like that's scumbag behavior. I really
Correct.
do.
Yes.
I won't even say the person. On our show one time at SiriusXM, we did a pre-taped interview. We interviewed a celebrity before our show.
Famous guy.
That
everybody knows.
And he referenced his boyfriend. And Covino chuckled like, he goes, oh, no. The guy was like, I'm gay. You know, I've never actually said that. And then after the interview.
He said he'd never been asked.
Yeah, and he's like,
what?
He was very comfortable with us. After the interview, his PR people said, hey, listen, you could do what you want, but he would prefer if you don't mind taking that little part out. It was not our place in my mind, to out him.
Oh, I love that because that's such an opposite of like the tabloids. Like
and,
you guys just
it's
held
the
on to
opposite
that.
of what happened in this story with that guy from Deadspin.
To me, since the
people just
celebrity
want attention, you guys are like, no, we're good.
This celebrity has come out openly gay now, but we knew back in the day, and again, I felt like it would have been a lame ass move to be like, we're going to be the ones that out you. I feel like that's a bad characteristic, and we will never be those people.
But I think the point, like a buddy of mine was at a college where an NFL team held a training camp years ago and saw one of their star players leave next door at like 2 a.m. where there was a house full of girls. And, and so I've never looked at that player the same because I know that story.
I knew someone that, but same thing.
That's the point. Like I think everybody has those stories.
I know someone. Again, I won't call people, but I know someone that worked for the Mets, and you know I'm a big Mets fan. There was a player that kept getting banged up with injuries, and I'm like, oh man, they can't shake this hamstring thing. And someone said, well, if they weren't out drinking and drugging until 3 a.m, I'm like, that's what they're doing.
Sure.
Like, and you know, in my mind, they were just really trying to rehab that leg, and they're like, no, they party every night, and they're never going to get better because they're just.
And that guy was Mr. Met.
But think about how many people know that story and also didn't out it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's the crazy thing about it.
I know some people. You could argue that having integrity works against you in our world. I'd rather have it.
So it's number one today, the fall of Favre.
Wishing Jen the best. Wishing the Mississippi people the best. Like,
yeah, and that's the other part of the story. The guy ended up with $1.1 million to himself.
Yeah.
To himself, not just the. Again, I was reminded of that.
Well, once he found out that he could get that money, he went back for more.
This was money that was supposed to be used for the poorest of poor people in Mississippi. And these are really poor people. And the majority of the money went to his daughter's stupid volleyball stadium. And then $1.1 million went to himself.
Yeah. They said a single mom with 2 kids in that state at the time could get, and this was just a few years ago, could get, what was it, $300 a month?
Yeah, like 260 something.
Something like that, yeah.
Well,
And
no,
this-
but Favre's kid needs new nets on their volleyball
But
court.
here's the thing, Rich. We remember the gist of it. We remember, like, oh, yeah, the volleyball thing. 1.1 in his own
Yeah.
pocket,
And
like he didn't have enough.
the text messages where he was asking the politician who helped him get the money,
Yeah.
can I get caught doing this?
By the way, the receipts were so key in this documentary. Because if you had any speculation on Sturger or that story, it put it to rest.
I promise
all
you
the
this.
proof was there.
I promise you this. If your husband, wife, boyfriend, or girlfriend, or someone goes, hey, can I get caught if I do blank? They're about to do some scandalous crap. Like, that's just, you don't say, oh, can I get caught doing this?
Wait,
You
are
don't-
you a
don't-
cop? Are you a cop? I got to ask first.
You don't preface that. Yeah, you don't preface that. If you talk to a girl in Vegas and she goes, you're not a cop, are you? You know what she's doing. I mean, people only ask if they could get in trouble if they're doing something wrong.
Let's
That's it.
wrap it up. Your takeaways from this documentary. By the way, 2 good documentaries this week. This one and Pee Wee Herman on Friday. I can't
I'm
wait.
excited for that, for real.
Can't wait. That's on Max. But your phone call's now to wrap it up. 877-99 on Fox.
Let's go to Miami. What's up, Miami? Seth, you're on with Covino and Rich.
Hey guys, how's it going?
What's
Little
up?
hot take for you, a little bit of fire.
Yeah.
A little heat. Look, I don't think it's a Favre issue. I think it's a societal issue. I think we all understand that, right? You know,
Yeah.
when you think about your integrity and your morals throughout, we'll just keep it with this country. I worked in an industry similar to your guys' industry where a lot of personalities, a lot of talent has to have a little bit more besides, a know-how, right? So I'm not, again, what happened to that woman is absolutely terrible, and yeah, Brett Favre should be held accountable. Should obviously we face some criminal allegations here, but in your guys' industry, and we'll just speak within your guys' entertainment industry, how much does especially from the female mentality, the female portion of it, do you have to sacrifice knowing that you are going to be able to make a little bit of headway based off of your looks and things like that, and knowing that we're hanging a carrot, we're essentially dangling carrots in front of these savages. I mean, we're all we know we're all men here. We know how we can be. So just taking that into consideration.
No, that is a layer of it. Like David mentioned, when she was working for the Jets, like the guy was like, security, you're going to throw her in the stands with a bunch of savage fans? Like, yeah, listen, it's just a reminder to check yourself as a grown man. Like
how hard it
be
is,
like,
too. It's
behave
a reminder
yourself.
of how hard it is for women to
You know?
deal in this boys' club of sports and broadcasting, but how far it's come, too, because when you look around now, there's nothing but beautiful women hosting these shows and broadcasting in the world of sports. And another thought I had, Rich, watching this, and we'll wrap it up with one more phone call, though, was like, Jen is a person. She's not just a picture or a sexy, beautiful woman that she described herself as on the show. She's a person. And imagine her dad. Like, we met her dad. We knew her dad. Imagine your daughter, your kid, who you love, hits sort of the life lottery, and Musburger points her out, and she gets this great opportunity, only to be ruined because some guy decided to do that. Like, just from a parental perspective, forget about Rich, dating her and Spot, living with her. Like, from a parental perspective, how does his dad must want to karate chop
Brett Favre
in the beanbag. Like, that's just infuriating.
His very small beanbag.
Yeah.
As a dad, I hear what Covino's saying.
Right?
Think about that. Danny, you got kids. Imagine if
You're one of 80,000 people at a game.
If your kid's career got sidetracked because of some pervy guy of power, you'd be furious.
Oh, yeah.
God.
Yeah. All right, let's say hi to Deacon in Houston. Wrap this up, and we'll go to DB for an update. What's up, Deacon?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
What up?
Love listening to the show.
Oh,
Listen,
thank you.
man, Favre's been a jerk for a long time, and a lot of us have known it. But what I want to do, I didn't realize about this Deadspin dude, this AJ guy. I didn't realize any of that at the time. And what I wanted to say, man, how many times have we seen in this new world somebody get canceled for something they did 10, 15, 20 years ago? Bro, it's never too late to hold a jerk accountable for ruining somebody's life, and you guys have just the platform to do it. You don't.
Dude, if there should be someone that is held accountable now, Brett Favre and the AJ dude from Deadspin should be, held accountable. I was going to say the worst, but they should be held accountable. I would not.
For the career losses that she's taken, Favre should have to pay her.
No doubt, and I think that if Deadspin wasn't already gone, aren't they canceled because of Hulk Hogan, right?
No, that was Gawker. Deadspin's still around. It just got bought by a different company. It just doesn't have the same profile. But I believe, were you talking about when Gawker released like a sex tape with Hulk Hogan?
Yeah.
They went out of business.
They
because
went
of that. Yeah.
kaput. Yeah.
You know, you were also reminded of all those websites at that time in the early 2000s when she's talking about MySpace and all these other things that were going on.
By the way, is it me or the 2000s? Are they starting to feel like more of a time capsule? You know, when you look back now, you're like, oh, at the time you don't feel like it's much different than now, and you're like, oh, look at the flip phones and the MySpace.
We're going to take you back to the year 2000. Who was in your top 8? We're going to take you back later today.
We will go over that, but let's go to Dan Byer for an update.
Hey, DB.
DB, what's up, bud?
Guys, Cam Ward wasn't born in the year 2000. It wasn't until May 25th, 2002 that the Titans quarterback was born, but today he signed his rookie deal, 4 years, $48.75 million, fully guaranteed for the first overall pick.
That's crazy.
in the NFL draft.
To put in perspective, because remember there were some Mel Kiper that thought Shador should have been the top dog. 4 years, 40-something versus 4 year, $4 million is a big difference.
Yeah, the decimal point was moved one spot to the right for Cam Ward. He signs his rookie deal today. The big news in the NFL is that the tush push is staying, needing 24 votes to get the play banned. 22 owners voted to get rid of it. That was not enough. So the play made famous by the Eagles is going to stick around for another year. As for the playoff reseeding proposal by the Lions, there was no vote. Lions withdrew it. NFL Network says that it could be back next season. Oklahoma City guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is your MVP for the 2024-2025 season. That's according to a report from ESPN. Tonight, Knicks and Pacers play game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals at Madison Square Garden at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals in the Stanley Cup playoffs is at 8 Eastern Time. Oilers and Stars in Dallas. Let's get to some baseball. Pirates beat the Reds 3-1. Rays doubled up the Astros 8-4. The Orioles were 8-4 winners in Milwaukee in 11, snapping an 8-game slide by the O's. Tigers took 2 of 3 from the Cardinals, winning 5-1. Cubs down the Marlins 2-1. The Royals right now lead the Giants 8-2 in the 7th inning. Mariners were 6-5 winners against the White Sox. And the Twins and Guardians are playing on a soggy afternoon in Minneapolis. The Twins took the game that was resumed from Monday. They won 6-5 in that contest. Right now, the Guardians lead 2-1 in the game that was scheduled today. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Dan Byer.
you, man.
Hey, coming up a lot, so get ready for this. Mahomes got 2 new weapons. What are they? We'll explain.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We got midweek major with Spot, Mike's words of wisdom. We're giving away prizes, so plenty of reason to stay right here.
Fit in.
And we pay tribute to the year 2000.
Well, we better make it snappy.
All coming up right here, Covino and Rich.